Hey guys, welcome to the garage that I have decided to do a hostile takeover of. It's a small, dirty shed that I'm fixing up for me and my dirty friends to work on our dirty bikes. It's gonna be a shrine to my one true love. Mountain biking! But the floor is 8 inches off level, there's mouse poo on every surface, giant spiders, no insulation. Ugh, gross. So it is safe to say that I've got some work to do. So let's just jump right into it. Basically, everything that you see on the wall here needs to go away. I don't want any of it. It's all gotta go. Step 1 is complete and utter destruction, and luckily I'm a demolition specialist. Oh yeah. Today is April 25th. I started this project back in November. So basically, I've been working on this video very unaggressively for the past 6 months. Why, you ask? Well, that's because deep inside of me, there are changes going on. Generally, I dislike everyone. But you know what? New year, new me. You know, by the 5th text message that I haven't responded to, I start feeling a little bit guilty. Maybe I do miss this person. They're wearing me down. It's leading to all sorts of problems. Gone are the days of inner peace, and they won't leave me alone, which translates to not being very productive. You see, no one ever talks about the upsides of antisocial behavior. You get a ton of stuff done. You are a productive maniac. And now that I'm practically a social butterfly, it's just not the case. And it doesn't help that these friends of mine 100% enable my mountain bike addiction, making me want to do it more, send it harder. Basically, I've been having way too much fun for my own good. Behold! So it's like 6 inches off level. Yay! I totally forgot I was supposed to be narrating what I'm actually doing, so with the insulation installed and the walls up, it was time to level the floor because it's a concrete foundation that was sinking into the ground, basically framing a subfloor on top of it. At this point, the shop was a brown and functional cube on the inside. A blank canvas, ready to fulfill all of my home bike shop dreams in the lovely shade of Pacific Northwest moss. Yes! Good morning. Today is sawmill day. Alaskan style, you know what I'm saying? Like an Alaskan sawmill. My father came over to assist in the project of milling up this tree that fell over on the property a few years ago. Little breakfast on the work site. One less dish to do if you drink out of the blender directly. This was our first time trying out the mill, and we were amazed with how it turned out. Oh yeah. Ooh la la.
Pacific Northwest gold.
But let me tell you, these things were heavy. By this point, the slabs were looking fab, and it was time to build the workbench. You remember this old piece of garbage? Well, we're gonna get a little reduce, reuse, and recycle up in here. I flipped the thing upside down, cut the legs off, spray painted it black, and called it good. Because if black spray paint is good enough for a bike thief, it's good enough for me. Did I forget to film a few steps like moving in the toolbox, the air compressor, a bike stand, and building an entire workbench? Perhaps. But we're not going to talk about that. Because my workshop is obviously Pacific Northwest inspired, we gotta add some fresh log legs. Oh, isn't that satisfying? See, isn't this nice? It's like a little log cabin workbench. Cute. It's time to organize, which is my favorite part of any shop build. Why do I look so irritated? I have no idea. Because this is the best part. Callie, what the heck? Like, why is there so much attitude? This is for a YouTube video. No one wants to see that. Okay, so check this out. It's the CNC metal sign from my old shop, Grit Cycles. We're just an online store now, but my buddy Ian made this, and it turned out so freaking cool. Would you look at that? The build is done. Howdy folks, welcome to my bike shop. So I've already managed to fully trash the place. As you can see, I have a bike partially disassembled right here, and I need to put it back together before I can even film the bike shop tour. Ba-dum! So we have a clean shop. Let's do a little tour. So what do you guys want to see first? My bike stand. Isn't it nice? Perhaps my toolbox. You want to look inside my drawers or my vise? This thing clamps down real hard. Okay. We're done with that. Tour time. So, welcome to my bike shop. This used to be a dirty shed. Now it's a bike shop. Most of the stuff that I have is all from my old bike shop, Grit Cycles. We're just an online store now. I closed the retail part of the shop. It was working way too much, and I'm young. I'm youthful. I want to be mountain biking all the time. It's been closed for about a year now, but I kept all of the tools because if you didn't pick up on it, I enjoy working on bikes sometimes. So this is like a full service shop. I can work on suspension, do damper rebuilds, wheel builds, and then like every other common bike repair, like drivetrain installs, whatever. So fully functioning bike shop in a tiny shed. I am really stoked with how it turned out because it's already saved my friends' butts and my butt multiple times. And I'll show you guys what's actually going on in here. So these are all of the tools that were already in the shop. And basically I painted the pegboard and hung them and organized them to make it all nice. This bench is newly built. I built it out of the scrap wood that I used to do the trim on the inside. So on top of the toolbox, we've got all of the power tools, drills, drill bits, etc., and then like a little charging area for lights and my phone. So I don't know if you guys are like this, but I'm totally so weird about toolbox organization. This is kind of like random spare tools that I would normally have, kind of like extra stuff that I would normally have up on the wall. And here we've got cone wrenches, some random hub and bottom bracket tools. And here we've got all of my box wrenches, which I have a lot of these like giant ones for working on suspension. And here we've got extra sockets, we've got some torque wrenches, some headset punches, bottom bracket punches. This is kind of like the bearing drawers. Oh. This is one of my favorite tools. I love doing frame bearings if the frame is nicely made. Very satisfying. Okay, next drawer. This is kind of like my two parts. We've got the cutting stuff drawer, so I've got saws, different blades. Wow, that was a razor blade. Then over here we've got all of my different vise clamps for doing suspension, different fork and shock bits and pieces. This is my more specific suspension toolage area. We've got my picks, which the pick is my very favorite tool of all the tools. We've got different snap ring wrenches. We've got little baby ones that basically are garbage. Don't ever buy those. Some different IFP tools, and then I have like all my little like Fox specific sockets all organized over here. Then this is my fork box. Strap wrenches, which is actually for doing shocks, and then different fork seal heads and cleaning stuff. Forks are pretty simple, which is nice, so we don't need much for those. In here we've got bleed kits, Dremel, tap kits, soldering iron, kind of just like my bigger tools. And then this is kind of like my whatever box plus spare parts for Callie. Onto side one of the workbench. So, as I mentioned, my nice beautiful vise, which clamps quite nicely. I've got some aluminum blocks for in there. We've got gloves, little baby sockets. This is kind of my oil and lubricant tray, just so it doesn't make a mess on my bench. This is a cute little mini ratchet set. You can get these on Amazon, and they're pretty handy for bike stuff because it's a pretty like light ratchet, so it works on things like stem bolts and stuff. And then all this stuff is pretty much your standard shop things. Underrated tool, flashlight. I've used this thing like a billion times. Overrated tool, Knipex flat-jawed pliers. I don't really like these. My favorite tool of all time, the pick. And my second favorite tool, the cleaning brush. Over here we've got my bins of random stuff. We've got some little pipe cleaner brushes, different valve core tools, thread locker, and then all the end caps and stuff I could ever possibly need. On the underside of the counter, I have all of my cables and housings stored, a giant box of random bolts and stuff, lubricants and oils, and then just kind of like some random parts and stuff on the bottom. On this side, you can see I have my truing stand. Always an essential ingredient to a bike shop. One of my favorite little random tools, this guy. It's just the DT Swiss spoke wrench. I really like the flat finger mounts, so it kind of, when you're building a wheel, it just is kind of more comfy than the curved ones that like Park Tool makes, you know? On top of my truing stand, I've got my tensiometer. This little guy is my dyno, my shock dyno. It's really good for diagnosing a shock to figure out if it needs a rebuild. It's also great for after you rebuild a shock to make sure that you did a good job. And then over here, I've got my small parts containers meticulously organized. We've got barrel adjusters, we've got pedal pins, and obviously you can't have a bike shop without bike storage, so I have this multi-wheel rack that hangs the bikes. All of these ones I'm kind of working on right now. If you're curious how many other bikes I have, I believe that there are 6 not pictured. I feel like one of the most fun parts about bike shops is the stuff that gives it personality, the decorations and all the little memorabilia that you have from riding your bikes. My favorite hat that you may be shocked that I don't wear this in public, but I feel like that's a better wall hat than it is actually wearing around. And of course, the last wall, we've got the Grit Cycles metal logo and the American flag. So that's about it. Thanks for watching my bike shop tour. If you made it to the end of this video, you're the real deal. Wow, I have a giant stain on my shirt. Oh my gosh. I look like a filthy little boy. I can't be allowed to have nice things. I ruin everything I own. Look at me, this is disgusting.